Hello Tigers, and welcome to the TMNtv Newscast for Wednesday, September 26, 2018. Stay tuned for the latest news at Fort Hays State University and around Northwest Kansas and the nation. I am your news anchor, Jenna Hawley, and Lauren Davis will be here shortly with a look at what's going on a little closer to home, and Haley White will be along with sports. But first, here's what's making news in Tigerland. While the talk of politics is running wild in the U.S., it is also at campus. Members of the Political Science Department at Fort Hays have teamed up to provide a weekly look at all things in the world with the show Talking Democracy. The show is produced by Tiger Media Network students and is available on our TV channel through Nextech and Eagle Communications cable, as well as online. This week's show features Jay Steinmetz and Alex Ray delving into politics in D.C. and beyond. Actor Bill Cosby faces 3 to 10 years in prison after being found guilty of sexual assault. Cosby's attorney argued his defendant was too weak and frail to serve time behind bars, but the judge ruled otherwise. He's also required to register as a sex offender, according to the Tribune News Service. The judge also denied a request to allow Cosby out on $1 million bail while he appeals the decision. Cosby becomes the first celebrity of the Me Too era to be locked up for crimes. President Donald Trump is fighting back over his choice for the Supreme Court. Trump blasted Democrats on Tuesday, saying they were responsible for a con game against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. He still awaits a confirmation vote in the Senate. Trump called Kavanaugh a high-quality person and so truthful in speaking Tuesday. A second accuser recently came forward as well, claiming Kavanaugh allegedly assaulted her when they were both freshmen at Yale in the early 1980s. Scandal erupted initially when Christine Ford alleged inappropriate behavior by Kavanaugh years ago. Deborah Ramirez is now the second accuser to target the Supreme Court nominee. Starbucks is planning on serving up layoffs amid a corporate shakeup. The giant said it plans to cut this fall at its Seattle headquarters, and that includes eliminating some top executives. According to the Tribune News Service, despite continued growth in the U.S. and overseas, the coffee giant said more needs to be done. The total number of jobs affected was not detailed. The company came under fire earlier this year for racially charged arrest and lackluster sales growth in important markets. The founders of Instagram have decided to leave Facebook. Kevin Systrom and Mike Keffer said they are ready for the next chapter of their lives. Facebook bought Instagram for $1 million nearly 6 years ago. There were reports that the duo and Facebook chief executive Mark Zuckerberg have been at odds about the direction the app was moving into. Instagram has grown into one of Facebook's most successful products. Its popularity has grown while Facebook has seen its growth taper off. The University of Maryland has been housing students in local hotels after reports of mold in some dorms have made students sick. Mold was found throughout one residence hall, and the problem began to increase with weather conditions. More than 500 students were relocated temporarily to hotels to allow for the cleanup of the mold in the 8-story building. The mold issue has compounded the university's housing problem. It houses nearly 2,000 students, and some are living without air conditioning. The school has also had to add beds to some rooms and lounges to accommodate an extra 350 students this year. A federal judge has reestablished North Dakota's voter ID law. The law states a person must show identification that includes a street address before they cast a ballot in November's general election. The judge ruled an appeal to the law would cause harm to the state's Secretary of State, who is responsible for ballot collection. The judge said the appeal could allow for people to cast ballots in the wrong district. North Dakota has a population of more than 755,000 and has no registration requirement. A recent study has doubled the number of undocumented immigrants in the U.S. Researchers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and Yale University gave an estimate of an average of 22.7 million undocumented immigrants. The government and other outside groups said the number is closer to 11 million or 12 million. The researchers said previously unavailable data gave them a better look at the estimated number of undocumented immigrants. They examined the numbers from border apprehensions and visa overstays to reach the new estimate. Those are the stories making headlines in the world this week. After we return from the short break, Lauren will be here with a look at what's happening a bit closer to home.
I think there's a perception out there that web and mobile application development is this field where you sit behind a computer all day and code. And that's not it at all, right? And there's even a perception out there that geek is bad. But I think students should embrace their inner geek. We don't code all day. We look at issues, we look at problems, and try to figure out the pieces of the puzzle and how to put them together to build things.
I was able to learn JavaScript, HTML, CSS, PHP, just kind of the whole 9 yards with that. So I really enjoyed the full program that they offered here.
Anything that you're interested in, the field of web and mobile application development, there's a value to. There's nothing like what we have in the informatics department. If you choose to take everything in the buffet that we offer, you'll be very well prepared for any type of job opportunity that's out there.
Hello Tigers, I'm Lauren Davis and here's what's going on in our region. Students walking to Cunningham Hall or Gross Memorial Coliseum using the walking bridge might have noticed something new earlier this week. A large Tiger logo was installed Monday on the east side of the bridge. The logo stands out during the daytime but also is lit up at night. The bridge was built in 1973 for students to more easily access GMC. The new Tiger logo measures 10 feet wide by 10 feet tall. 2 university professors have been honored by the Mid-American Business Deans Association for a case study on strategic selling. Robert Lloyd and Mike Martin earned first place from the association and will receive their award at the annual meeting in Chicago. The 2 studied students learning to cold call clients. The study found students were able to learn and implement behaviors that made cold calling successful. The study also served as a recruiting tool for the university. FHSU Sternberg Museum of Natural History received a $24,000 grant to support a geology collection. The project will begin December 1st and is expected to take 9 months to complete. The money will be used to help bring the museum's geology collection up to current management standards. The collection is where specimens are stored when not displayed. The museum plans to build a digital archive of the specimens, upgrade storage space, and secure storage of specimens for preservation. The university will honor 6 alumni during homecoming activities Friday. Colleen Ellis, Neil Schmeidler, and Brenda K. Tooley received the Alumni Achievement Awards, while Jennifer Lapka and Matthew Preexat earned the Young Alumni Award. Josh Bria was named the Nita M. Landrum Award winner. For more information on each winner, visit tigermedianet.com. The Quintet St. Louis Brass will perform at Beach Schmidt Performing Arts Center on Tuesday. The Quintet has been performing since 1964 and will entertain the FHSU audience at 7:30 p.m. The group will offer free master classes at 1:30 p.m. Tuesday in Malloy Hall. It is open to the public. Tickets to Tuesday night's performance are $5 to the public and free for FHSU students with a student ID. U.S. Representative Roger Marshall said he would endorse Chris Kobach for governor of Kansas. Marshall is running for re-election against Democrat Alan LaPlante in Kansas's Big First District. Kobach is the first running for governor against Democrat Laura Kelly and independent Greg Oman. The Salina Journal reports Marshall said he thinks Kobach will represent strong conservative values and that Kobach will continue to turn the Kansas economy around. Speaking of the governor's race, Libertarian candidate Jeff Caldwell says Kansas has an opportunity to decriminalize marijuana. According to the Topeka Capital-Journal, Caldwell says 3/4 of the state's residents would welcome a law allowing medical use of marijuana, and that half of the state supports recreational consumption of pot. He is an advocate for Kansas farmers being allowed to grow hemp. Caldwell told the Topeka Capital-Journal that tariffs introduced by the Trump administration and Chinese backlash are hurting Kansas' exports market and making it evident the state needs to find alternative revenue. 2 people accused of torture and murder of a man over drug money have been tried and found guilty. Jeff and Heidi Hillard were found guilty of first-degree murder, rape, 2 counts of aggravated kidnapping, and 3 counts of aggravated battery of a man and a woman. The charges were stemmed from the death of 33-year-old Scotty Goodpaster Jr., seemed to be incited by $185 in missing drug money from meth. After a gruesome series of events, an 81-year-old woman called 911 after she saw one of the defendants tackle Goodpaster in the driveway as he tried to escape. The Kansas Highway Patrol was part of a search for 2 suspects of an attempted burglary in Ellis on Monday. According to Chief Yates, the Ellis Police Department was dispatched to a residence in the 800 block of Madison Street. The Kansas Highway Patrol had 4 officers and an airplane, as well as 3 Ellis County Sheriff's Office deputies. Searching for the suspects, they were described as a white female with dark hair and a black male with an afro. The suspects have not yet been located. A Wichita man injured himself last weekend after trying to blow something up in his backyard. 43-year-old Travis Red was trying to use a firework to explode an item. When the explosion happened, neighbors called police about the explosion. Police arrived first and then called emergency personnel to assist. The explosion left fragments flying into Red's chest, injuring him. The Wichita Eagle reports Red was taken to the hospital for non-life-threatening injuries before being booked into jail on suspicion of criminal use of explosives. That's all we have this week for things happening a bit closer to home. Stay tuned for a sports update with Haley White when we return.
The Tiger Media Network is Fort Hays State University's independent student media organization. It's a student employment opportunity where you can work for either the news side or the sports side. So you can be on live sports production, which produces all of the live sports broadcasts that we do, or you could be on the news side and do news stories covering things on campus, so presidential announcements, student government association. We bring that news to the student community and the Hays community as well.
You don't realize how much Fort Hays State has to offer until you're here.
I mean, it is definitely, this is the land of opportunity here.
I just got back from the MIAA tournament in Kansas City a couple weeks ago where we worked with other production crews including Pitt State and Central Missouri. And it's a great time. I've gone there the last couple of years.
For me anyway, I get to do sports, which is what I love. And if live productions is where that's at.
This is the perfect place to do it. We have almost everything that you could possibly imagine.
Tiger Media Network allows you the opportunity to take the skills you've learned and put them forward in a real world, real application setting that allows you to flourish and grow as a professional, and that will only help you and benefit you when you graduate and go into the real world workforce.
FHSU football improved to 3-1 overall this season with a 55-20 win in Joplin on Saturday. The Tigers gained an early lead on Missouri Southern, putting most of the points on the board during the first half. Junior running back Charles Tigner set the tone early by a 55-yard touchdown run during the opening minutes of the game. Tigner ended the contest on the same note by rushing over 100 yards for the first time this season. FHSU quarterback Jacob Mazzara had success finding the hands of tight end Matt Wendelberger multiple times during the first half, giving Wendelberger 7 receptions for 145 yards and 2 touchdowns. I sat with Wendell Berger earlier this week and discussed his receiving performance during Saturday's game.
You had both of your touchdown catches in the second quarter, the last one leading to a 35-6 lead at halftime. Were you surprised at how wide open you were at times during the game?
Sometimes, but I mean, we prepare for those situations. I mean, watching film and just practice, you know, that there's going to be holes in that defense, so that's where they put me and just making plays from there. So,
do you think with your size and how you are used in the offense that opposing teams sort of forget about you in the passing game?
Sometimes, because my past 2 seasons I've been used as just a blocker, usually nothing too flashy in receiving. But yeah, I think sometimes they fall asleep in the receiving game, but obviously now teams are going to be looking at me more as a receiving threat since this season. So.
It is homecoming weekend, and the Tigers will host Central Oklahoma Saturday at 7 p.m. The Broncos are coming off a 31-21 win over number 4 Northwest Missouri on Saturday night. Quarterback Chance Fuller, defensive back Tanner Hookman, wide receiver Manny Ramsey, and head coach Chris Brown discussed what they expect to see from Central Oklahoma on Saturday during this week's press conference.
Still early, but I try to get better each week, watching film and learning. Just completing the ball to the receivers, letting them do what they can do after the catch, doing what I can do.
And so this year they had 2 quarterbacks coming in. Didn't really know who the starter was going to be. One's hurt right now, though, so we kind of know who's going to come in. And he played pretty good against Northwest, and we got all that film in, and just to see like what he's about. And he's a good, solid quarterback, can throw, can run both ways. They're all around a better team, I feel like, other than just one player or 2 players. So that's going to be a little bit more hard to focus on, but I think our team can take the challenge.
The first time I went in there, I was so nervous, and, you know, just like the speed of the game is way faster than I thought. And, you know, I'm starting to get used to it, but it's definitely a step up.
Off the bus when we got home at 4 a.m. in the morning, you know, I said, hey, the team we're getting ready to play next, you know, just beat Northwest Missouri State. So you better get your sleep, get your rest, and get your film hours in tomorrow and start preparing right now. So, you know, we had a lot of guys up, you know, here on Sunday watching film. A lot of guys yesterday coming in watching film and preparing themselves and getting themselves ready for this game. So what scares me is the distractions this week, you know, with Oktoberfest and homecoming and all the different things that are going on. And, you know, hopefully they put those things aside and just focus on this game and focus on winning this game.
Hoping to start conference play with a win, FHSU women's soccer could not seal the deal during its MIAA matchup with Emporia State on Sunday. The Hornets claimed a 3-2 home victory over the Tigers, dropping Fort Hays 4-2 overall. An early Hornet goal was the only time the ball saw the net until the next half, which gave Emporia State 1-point advantage going into the second. The Tigers put themselves on the board within minutes of the second half as senior midfielder Vienne Sanchez netted her 3rd goal of the season. Junior midfielder Nikita Woods added onto the Tigers' score with her 1st goal of her FHSU career. The Hornets regained control of the match with 2 consecutive goals, capturing the 3-2 win. The Tigers are back at home this weekend with 2 MIAA matches. On Friday, FHSU will take on Central Oklahoma at 7 p.m. The Tigers will return to FHSU Soccer Stadium for Sunday's match against Northeastern State at 1 p.m. FHSU men's soccer had a record-breaking weekend on the road. The Tigers traveled to Bolivar, Missouri on Friday, where they left Southwest Baptist scoreless and putting an impressive 9 goals on the board behind FHSU forward Santiago Agudelo's hat trick. FHSU broke the school record for goals in a single match and points in a match with 29, while they tied the match record for assists with 11. However, the excitement for the Tigers didn't stop there. FHSU traveled to Tahlequah, Oklahoma on Sunday in hopes of knocking off number 8 Northeastern State after the Riverhawks defeated the Tigers 2-1 during the 2017 Central Region Championship match. In the 54th minute of the match, the Tigers gained a 1-0 lead with a goal by senior Luis Torres. Agudelo continues his impressive performance with a goal in the 68th minute of the contest. Midfielder Rogelio Lopez added onto the FHSU score with the Tigers' third and fourth goals of the match. FHSU only allowed Northeastern State one goal in the 75th minute of the match, which led the Tigers upsetting the top 10 Riverhawks. With the huge weekend of play behind him, Santiago Agudelo earned MIAA Athlete of the Week, achieving his honor for the first time. I was able to talk with Agudelo about his outstanding road performance earlier this week.
And during your match on Friday, you guys jumped out on top of Southwest Baptist early and never looked back. You nearly had a hat trick in the first half. Was it just one of those games where everything was clicking for you?
Yeah, I put it that way. Everybody played good. We knew we had to go out, come out strong. We had to show how good we are, not just individually, but as a team. And everybody had a good game, and everybody got a lot of minutes, and that's what we wanted.
The Tigers will head back to Oklahoma to take on Oklahoma Baptist at 7:30 p.m. on Thursday. The FHSU volleyball team suffered 2 tough losses at home this weekend, leaving them winless so far in the MIAA play. On Friday, FHSU fell to Pittsburg State, allowing the Gorillas to take over early in 3 sets during the Tigers' home opener. FHSU was able to secure the first set after overcoming a shaky start and going on a late run, giving the Tigers a 25-23 victory. However, FHSU lost its spark after the first set, giving the next 3 to Pittsburg State. The Tigers were unable to regain momentum in the second match at home on Saturday, going down in straight sets with 16th-ranked Central Oklahoma. FHSU will head back on the road this weekend to take on Northwest Missouri State Friday at 6 p.m. FHSU cross-country teams had a successful run this weekend as both men and women's teams were able to place high during the Chili Pepper Festival on Saturday. The men finished 3rd among D2 teams and 8th overall while finishing with 273 team points. The women saw similar success as they placed 17th out of 51 teams, combining for 450 points. MIAA Women's Cross Country Athlete of the Week goes to FHSU's Yesenia Gonzalez after she set a new personal record during the festival with a time of 18:05 in the 5K race. The men and women will travel to Lawrence this Saturday to compete in the Rimrock Farm Collegiate Classic hosted by the University of Kansas. The Kansas City Chiefs continued their explosive start to this season with a 38-27 win over San Francisco 49ers during Kansas City's home opener on Sunday. With Mahomes successfully finding targets early, followed by a few San Francisco penalties, gave the Chiefs an easy 14-0 lead before the first quarter was out. Kansas City racked up 3 more touchdowns, and the defense only allowed the 49ers 10 points in the half by giving up a touchdown and a field goal. The Chiefs entered the second half up 35-10, but the 49ers struck back and tightened the gap. The Chiefs were able to make it out alive, ending Week 3 with an undefeated record. KC has a big Monday night matchup as they travel to Denver to take on Case Keenum and the Broncos at 7:15. That's all we have for this episode. We will return next week for another TMNtv Newscast. To stay up to date on the latest news and sports throughout the week, visit TigerMediaNet.com. Until then, remember, roar Tigers.